folks, welcome back. Let's talk about trimming and scoring, what I've actually learnt. Let's start with this one. This one is the first one I bought, 1995 from Amazon, or about the same on Create and Craft. Measurement wise, all together we've got 43.5 in centimetres. Down the actual ruler that's on the flap, it's only inches and 16ths. So I'm a bit like, sort of, you know, I thought, well, that's strange. As for the actual cutters, these do sort of move about a bit. So if you're putting it in your cupboard, you know, it's gonna just be aware that they will flip out. They are sharp, so when they're up, just be aware of that. Ideally, you'd like to line it up, and what I like to do is line it up with a channel. You've got like a channel here, so let's click that down. It does grip your paper. When your paper's in, once that's down, it's a bit hard to manoeuvre your paper. It is hard to keep lifting and pulling up and down if you haven't got your paper in the right place. Down this edge you've got like a big flap that does hold your paper down, because this does go all the way down, so that is very good. This is like a pain for us lot who do have digitals printed off. We've always got this edge, haven't we, that we have to remove. So let's see how he goes getting this very fine edge off. So I'll bring that down right to the bottom, clip it in, and we'll bring that down for the top, and see what happens, because sometimes they do ruckle. They do sort of turn your page, or you know, it sort of creases a bit, like buckles, you know, under the groove. So yeah, that's the first one then. All rounder, very good. You've got markings on, you've got this groove here like a square, like you've got two grooves there on either side. I don't know if you can see those. Then you've got a mark there, so if you want to do some precision cutting you can. That's ideal, because you can line up your markings or where you've got to cut to. Because this only marks in 8ths and 16ths, you know, you've sort of, it's not really close enough to the edge of this groove, if you get me. The 7, you know, the inch ones are, but you could do with these lines coming a bit further over. Do you get me? That's what I'd like anyway, if it was me. So right, let's get that one out of the way, and we'll bring the next one in. The next one is actually dual purpose. It's a scoreboard and trimmer. It's from We Are Memory Keepers. Price wise, you're looking at $39.99 on Create and Craft, but on Amazon it's a bit cheaper. It's $34.67. You've got these little slots here you pull out, and it just locks in. Therefore you've got this good size 12-inch board to work with, and obviously you've got all the score markings as well. It goes up to 12.25 inches, and then on the centimetres it's like just over 31. That's the only thing. You've got to work that side or that side. You haven't got your double markings, your inches and your centimetres both sides like you have on the other one. That's the only difference. On here you have got your markings, centimetre, and you've got your inch and your 8ths, which is a bit strange, because you'd think they'd put the centimetres there as well, but it's still a good piece of kit. As far as trimming goes, you have got a different setup. Your ruler doesn't come, your flap doesn't come right over, so it doesn't hold your paper down. That's the only problem. You have to sort of hold your paper down yourself, because when that's in, the cutter is literally here on the edge. the paper isn't being held down in itself. You can do it from this angle, so bring it across this way, and then that way the ruler does hold your paper down. So you can do it from that way and then go this way like that. And I've just brought that up and down twice because it was in the middle. So yeah, you can do it that way. You can do it this side, it's just a bit more awkward because you have to hold your paper still, yeah. And what I like to do is bring the cutter in a bit, because that way you don't risk this buckling up of your paper. See, now that's because that's not being held down. So let's take it from the top instead and see if that'll work. So I'll hold it there at the very top, I'll bring it in. See, I'm having to hold this now with my fingers, which isn't ideal, but it's not going to cut you. See, that's done a bit of ruckling, so it doesn't exactly work from that angle. So that's the difference with this one, yeah. Now, the other thing with this though, the beauty of it is it's a scoreboard as well. Now, the actual blade, that is sticky uppy, so you have to watch that one like it is on this one. You know, be aware of this with these, they stick up. So that one doesn't lay flat though, but this one does sort of lay flat when you're swapping your blade, swapping this round. This actually turns like that, yeah, to form an edge for your scoring. So that goes in there like that, and also you can clean out your channel with all your bits of debris of paper. When your cutters, when your thing's down, that will hold your trimmer into place, so that doesn't move around. So that's one good bonus. Here's your little score tool, and then you can score paper or card, and just butt it up, get your little scorer in your groove, and there we go. Look, you can score. I mean, I'm just doing anything here, any random grooves, just to give you an idea. See, you've got the nice little mounting there, and it's ideal if you need to do some narrow gussets, yeah. If you're sewing signatures, or you're doing box making, that's ideal. So yeah, so the little scorer is great on this one. The only sort of difference is, like I said, is with the measurements. So that's it. They are sort of different, all different. So depending on what you're doing, it depends on sort of which one I'm gonna grab. So that's that one. This was an actual charity shop find. I don't think it's a Fiskars, because it hasn't got Fiskars written on it. So it's possibly, you know, from just a craft shop, or maybe a B&M type store, or a Poundland type store. Difference with this is we have got these what they call it, you know, 45-degree angle, 75-degree, so you can line this up and you know you've got that angle if you're doing that kind of work. Your good size 13.5-inch measurement on there is 34 centimeters. The bottom, you've only got it up to 4 inches. It does swing back in, and then it gives you the angles. As for the actual trimmer itself, you haven't got the sticky out blade, because what happens with this is you have to push it down and then the blade is exposed. So when you're actually cutting, you have to push it in, yeah, that's the difference. And this also, I thought this was the same, you know, one that clips in, and you have to, I thought it was trying to push this up originally, but it isn't. It just comes up normal like that. See, easy. So when you've got a lot of these sort of things going on, you've got to cut all these edges. It's really nice and quick and easy to whip it in and get your edges off. And you can line it up as well, because there's the grooves are on here just the same, and that's quite smooth. It's quite a good, and that just comes up like that. So to pull it up, all I'm doing is just literally pulling the actual thing, the actual cutter. I'm not having to maneuver up and down the top of the ruler. Now that's ruckled a little bit, that has now, because I didn't push it in enough. Yeah, so it does do that. That's one of the things with these, you know. So I like to start a little bit down. I mean, I've cut a little bit more off there than I should have, but you get the idea, I think, guys. It does fill, the channels do fill, so you do have to clean this out again. That's how come you get your ruckling. Now let's see if it'll work any better from the bottom. Oh yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, so for £1, well, from a charity shop, that's where I got it from. Ideal, but it's light and it's easy to carry, so that's a good piece of kit really. The last one is this Woodware finger guard. Now this one, you have got the swing out on, it's, you know, but it's a bit flimsy. It's not as sturdy as the others. It only goes up to 27.3 mil. Well, 27 inches and 3 mil. So it's a bit of an odd number. I don't know what that is in inches without looking at a conversion. There's no inches on here, so that's a bit annoying. Differences with the actual cutter. It's still flat. It won't cut you. And then the actual cutter you change by pressing that. It lifts up, and then you can pull that out like so and change your blade. Yeah, the blade's in there, it's hidden away, so it's not going to hurt you. And then on the reverse, you have got storage for blades, extras. This actual cutter does perforated and scoring. The scorer isn't brilliant, but it does the job. It's handy, small enough. You've just got to do a few little cuts. It hasn't got a groove there, and apparently you do have to change that because it can get worn. But what you have got on the mouse, on the cutter mouse, there is like a little arrow there, and on the arrow there's a little green line, and that's where you line that line up with your work. So you sort of have to guess, put your work in, guess where the middle of this is, and then you line it up. But apart from that, it's okay. Price wise, you're looking at $14.99 on Amazon and Create and Craft. So it's a nice little cutter, and that doesn't move about, the mouse doesn't. When these move around, this one doesn't move because that one has to be pushed down anyway, so that one doesn't slide. This one does move, but when the scoreboard edge is in, it doesn't move. But obviously this one does. So there you go, guys. Right then, I'm going to shoot off now, and hopefully you can take something from this, and I will see you very shortly. Everybody stay safe, take care, bye bye.